Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, everyone.
And Stoney.
Hello.
It has been a little bit weird sitting here, just the three of us. We don't have Miranda with us.
Right. The room has a little bit of a different feel about it today.
It feels like the old days a little bit. Or I say old
Yeah.
days, you know.
Our listeners will just have to
Suffer with us.
listen to us. I mean,
don't leave. Don't leave. I promise. We got something very interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
But it does feel like whenever the cat's away, the mice will play. I feel like that's what this episode's going to be about.
Yeah.
So before we get started on the subject today, I want to tell you, I was at Walmart earlier today, and there was this older lady. She was looking at the frozen turkeys, and she couldn't find one big enough. So she asked one of the stock boys, "Do these turkeys get any bigger?" And he looked at her with a straight face and said, "No, ma'am, they're dead." And I just made my whole week right there.
I can only imagine how she looked at the stock boy after that.
That's
Oh,
it.
man.
No, ma'am, they're done.
Yeah. I think they're done growing.
That made my whole week right there. Huh?
That is funny.
A good little kind of Thanksgiving themed joke.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you believe that we're already halfway through November?
No.
This is unbelievable.
It's
And it's going to be here before you know it. It's going to be
not really.
past. It's going to be Black Friday and then Christmas.
Here we go.
It's just...
Right around the corner.
Yep.
This year has blown by.
Right.
We maybe one day need to do an episode on Black Friday shopping habits.
It has changed.
That would be
a lot.
pretty cool.
It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I remember when it was a whole, like a whole night ordeal. Now I don't feel like it's people don't do anything.
Well, a
anymore.
lot of the Black Friday stuff now is
They have
online.
right.
It's online.
They online, or now they do Black Friday even before Black Friday.
Well, it starts at Halloween.
right.
Yeah.
So it's
Pre-Black Friday sale.
Yep.
I'm like, what?
Anyways.
It used to be that Halloween had to happen before the Thanksgiving stuff hit the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Christmas stuff is on the shelves at Halloween. As soon as they move all the candy and all the Halloween costumes and
Christmas
decorations,
goes up.
Christmas goes up.
Yeah.
And it's like Thanksgiving is just kind of a
Yeah, it's a sandwich.
second thought, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's all it is a big meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's no really shopping or gift giving associated with Thanksgiving.
Apparently, it's just shopping unless you're looking for a bigger frozen turkey.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently have heard between some friends of mine why besides the kind of the cultural thing that we've talked about on this show before, like why people haven't liked Thanksgiving a whole lot, and it's because of course their family comes around and they have to have a conversation with them, and usually meet family members they don't want to meet. But also I've heard that their families don't cook turkey right, or don't cook a good meal, and I'm like, well, that's your problem. Not only do you have to be around family you don't like, but also your family doesn't cook well. I was like, oh no, I could never.
You have never seen the more judgmental people from South Louisiana and what you put in your gumbo, unless you're from South Louisiana.
Yep.
And it's the same
It's
thing
divided
with the turkey. It's the same thing with all of that.
I would venture to say it's cooking in general. I mean,
Yeah.
we do claim a special, kind of stamp of approval when it comes to food, and it's borne out by we cook well here. How we utilize spices and our food there's a lot of love that goes into cooking here.
It just feels so intrinsically part of Thanksgiving that every time after we're done with the turkey, my dad would make turkey and sausage gumbo.
Yes.
Like,
Take that carcass and
immediately after the Thanksgiving feast a lot of times. So the week after we would be having gumbo or other leftovers from Thanksgiving, and it was just it was always something I look forward to. And now from friends of mine from other states are like, I just don't like it because I've never had good food around then, or people try. Anyways, I was like,
Well, they
Yeah, so I was like, trust me, I was like, I love Thanksgiving for that reason specifically.
Yeah.
I usually fast before the feast.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I'm actually going to be running a race actually Thanksgiving morning. So
Really?
yes, I burn.
Oh yeah,
I run a
ready.
5K. I run a 5K before I even begin to eat.
There you
So
go.
I'm ready to go when the time comes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
but
You'll be
I
ready
can
to-
eat in between that and the pumpkin pie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's carrot souffle.
Yeah.
Too much.
Mhm. Well, so what do we have on the
When
list
I
for
was
today?
researching the our EV electric vehicles a scam episode,
Mhm.
I came across a Simpsons prediction that said that the electric vehicles would be catching fire, and it's come true. So I was wondering how many of the Simpsons predictions have come true.
I had no idea that this topic even existed.
I've heard of it in the
it's
past.
a huge topic.
Because I don't watch The Simpsons. I don't.
Right.
And so when this topic came up, I was like, they make predictions, and then after you kind of start diving into some of this stuff, it's like, wow.
They're so accurate. And this has been, the Simpsons have been going since what, the early to mid 90s, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is before, they predicted Donald Trump becoming president.
Right. Yeah, they
They
did.
predicted Lady Gaga doing the Super Bowl.
yeah.
I mean, wait a minute. What, really? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was kind of, probably one of the bigger things that just recently came out that I thought was interesting. It says, has The Simpsons predicted Elon Musk's fate? Did y'all see that one?
No. There's a lot. I thought that. So for me personally, I heard a couple of these, and so I thought it was just one of those like coincidence sort of things, like where you have a long running show. I mean, this kind of thing has been done with other TV shows in the past, where like
Right.
you have a long running show, and then there are some things you can pull out of it that are like funny jokes that are predictions for the future. But whenever I did a little bit of looking into this, there's like a whole bunch of them for this. So anyways, that's what I've realized from
Yeah,
this.
it basically it's saying that he'll be forced to sell, Twitter or X. And it's episode 4 of season 35
Wow.
of and it's a few days. Also say that his SpaceX is going to crash into the space station up there, and supposed to be some bad deal. So yeah, it's a.
Did y'all happen to see AOC coming across saying that Elon Musk is infatuated with her and wants to date, but she's going to contact him because she doesn't understand why we haven't sought the energy of the sun because it's too hot, but if they go at night, it'll be cooler. This is an actual video of her saying this. How stupid are people?
I think she has said a lot of things that a lot of people kind of shake their head at, but
the Simpsons had an episode in season 9 in 1998.
Wow.
They said there was going to be an explosion of SUV popularity. And it was right at the 2000s when the SUV started taking out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they also had predicted that Musk would actually purchase Twitter.
Yes.
That to me just kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's like, there's all kind of things. Some, people, what might be going on? Is there something real about how a lot of these predictions have come true? I mean, is the show just simply tapping into kind of self-evident things and kind of...
Yeah, but they're way before you could call it that. They're way before. You're talking 20, 30 years before. The return of the DeLorean.
I wish it would come back.
It has come back. The DeLorean's back now.
Oh,
they
it
just
is?
had a huge announcement, I think 5 weeks ago, 3 or 5 weeks ago. Excuse me, everybody. My brain is still not there. My memory's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of notes. I'm having to pull some Jasons here and have a lot of stack of notes here just to keep up with it. But yes, the DeLorean is back.
Wow.
Well, I looked at some of these so-called predictions. Season 25, episode 15, The Word of Art. Richard Branson founded Virgin Galactic in 2004, so The Simpsons predicting his recent sojourn into near space wasn't too much of a stretch for the writers of The Word of Art in 2014. However, what is eerie is the accuracy with which the artists behind season 25 episode were able to predict what Branson's spacecraft would actually look like. So that's where kind of the weird part of that story is from the neutral colored walls and flight suit down to the round windows. It's scarily close to reality. So, yeah. I said this whole topic. I had no idea this even existed.
Well, there's actually conversation, and it's conspiracy theorish type stuff on if some of the writers aren't time travelers from the future, trying to help us navigate what's coming. Well, because when you're so specific about things, Disney buys 20th Century Fox.
I just was reading that.
Right.
Yeah.
This happened in episode 10.
That's way back. Because the
season 10.
I'm
Episode
sorry. Yes, it's season 10, episode 5. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Not used to having used notes here.
That's okay.
But season 10, episode 5. How specific is that? How long ago?
That season released in 1998, and Walt Disney did not buy Fox until 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 20 years later, which is crazy.
20 years
That's
later.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the crazy part.
I don't know. I mean, it's
like, again, coincidence? I mean, who knows? But it is kind of funny.
There's a lot here that coincidence would be kind of challenged a little bit.
Well, how about this one? Another season 10. Season 10 is apparently, I've never seen an episode of The Simpsons, but season 10, stealing cooking grease for cash.
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
What is that?
What is biodiesel made out of now? They go to McDonald's, they go to Burger King, they
Really?
go to Popeyes. For pennies on the dollar, they buy the grease, the used grease, and turn it into biodiesel now.
And you can run,
I didn't know that.
You can run regular diesel vehicles on it.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Come on.
Well, I did read that that they said that the predictions for 2025 that there's going to be a global health crisis in 2025.
Oh gosh, not another one.
Yeah. So, what that global health crisis is, who knows?
Crazy. I just recently saw one about the underwater submersible emergency situation as well. About that season, I think released in 2006, and that's something that happened this year where there's some parallel with the real life situation of the whole Ocean Gate thing that was going on. I got another view on like how quickly that happened, and that's so scary, that whole situation. Like basically it collapsing before your brain can even process pain. That's crazy.
Another one I found pretty interesting: the Higgs-boson particle. In the episode "The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace," aired in 1998, Homer Simpson becomes an inventor and writes an equation on the chalkboard.
And it was close.
The equation predicts the mass of the Higgs-boson particle, which was discovered in 2012.
That's the God particle, by the way.
God particle.
For everybody who doesn't know that one, the easy term is the God particle.
Yep.
But also in season 6, they predicted video chats. And not just on the TV, but just regular video chats on phones and computers and things like that. I think it was an episode called Lisa's Wedding. And it offhandedly features one of the more vital components of the 2010s and especially the 20s amid the pandemic, video chats. Mm-hmm. So that's come true. That was another 10 to 15 years after they predicted it.
Glad that era is behind us.
Ooh. But another one is The Average Joe Goes to Space.
Mm-hmm.
Season 5, episode 15. NASA elects to send an average person into space. Well, it didn't go through NASA. It went through somebody else. Mm-hmm. But they did predict that happening.
Crazy.
Season 9, episode 3, Lisa's Sax. Is that the one you just said? Mm-mm. This one was about the Ebola outbreak.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Predicted in 1997. There's a book to read, bought a book titled Curious George and the Ebola Virus.
Wow, how on the nose.
Which YouTube creator, The Controversy 7, says proves that the makers of the show knew about the future outbreak and are members of the Illuminati.
Of course.
It's always the Illuminati.
It's always
they're the heart of every problem in the world.
Of course. Well, it's easy to
blame a mysterious organization.
When you have something that is so suspicious and it's hard to wrap your mind around, it's always easy to blame the mysterious hidden figures that we all don't know about.
That's right.
The thing is, I love it. I think conspiracy theories and a lot of these things are fun, but it all, I think, is birthed out of a place of unknowing, of the mystery of it all. Because I think that I don't know about this particularly. This is kind of
well, apparently the writers of the Simpsons, this isn't unknowing. They know all of this.
So the funny thing is, like, this is kind of a special use case. But for me personally, a lot of times I think that the world is more convenient and coincidence oriented than you think it is. I think whenever people see true randomness, I think that the human brain is really good at trying to make a pattern out of nothing, and so I think that more often than not, I've heard from people that are far more intelligent than I am that humans are bad at like statistical outcomes and numbers in that regard, especially like just like randomness in that aspect. And so I think that stuff like this, I think is very just, I think a lot of times in history, I think there's a lot of coincidences that happen, but people try to like want to have a solid reason for it, but there is no real reason except for just that's how life works.
This is
sometimes.
A lot more than coincidence.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
How about season 20, episode 4? Faulty voter machines. They saw that one coming, didn't they?
But that's what I'm saying. Is like that's like I think from a writer of a show where you can, I'm not saying that all this is coincidence. But I'm just saying in general, I think a lot of conspiracy theories are birthed of a place of people wanting to find patterns and wanting to find answers where there really is none. I think that a lot of that kind of stuff is that life just happens sometimes, or accidents happen, or people just unknowingly make decisions, and then of course they're like, there's an ulterior motive, there's a bigger force at play here, and it's not always. Sometimes maybe there is, but for the most part, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just.
Well, I mean, they could, like, for example, talking about the voting machines and stuff like that. They could probably go back to the time of Bush Gore with the hanging chads and kind of make. I can see where you can take that line of and say, you know what? Probably in the future, there's going to probably be some problems with the machines.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right.
I could see that,
especially when they're intentional.
Right, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. How about this one? Considering what Bill Gates and some of the other people are fixing to try to make you eat, season 5, episode 19. Putting horse meat in food.
Yes, I saw that one. God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a very specific.
It is
prediction in season 5. What did we say? Season 5 was when?
Probably 98, I think.
98.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, maybe
98. I was still young and good looking.
You know,
that was 93 actually.
You know,
93. I was really young and still good looking then.
We look at this stuff, and this may be a way of trying to get information out to the public.
Okay.
Through a code.
About this one.
Maybe. But
Could be.
Yeah, right. But I think it's also it's also a comedy show. This is where I kind of suspend my disbelief a little bit. And it's a comedy show, and I think that sometimes people have been jokingly, making jokes about eating cat and dog meat for a long time and eating horses or whatever. So, but I'm just saying, like I'm being the devil's advocate here. Mm-hmm. Maybe it isn't all coincidence. Maybe it is, but I think that some of that is kind of funny though. And as a comedic show, well,
you can go with coincidence. Right. I'm gonna go
time
for
travel.
The reach. And I'm gonna say at least one of them has experienced time travel. How about this one? This is one of my favorites. Okay, considering people are saying, guns kill people, forks make you fat, et cetera, et cetera. Right. How about suing an all-you-can-eat restaurant for making you fat? Homer sues for pursuing the all-you-can-eat and getting fat off of it. That was in season 4, episode 8. Okay. In America now, you've got people, doing things. There was a lady, I think in Louisiana, that sued McDonald's for serving her hot coffee, and she got burned with it.
I saw that one.
She won over $3 million. I met the attorney, and he had some things to say about that. But still, it's hot coffee.
Right. Well, I think, let me be, again, I'll try and be devil's advocate again for that. The original case that all happened with, that poor lady that happened with, I think sparked a whole trend that it's been hard to come back from. But the original case back, I'm not sure how long ago it was, back in like the 90s, early 2000s, that McDonald's was serving the coffee hotter than they were supposed to, like regulated to do. And it also, the person that handed it to her spilled it in her lap. And so and she didn't want to press charges, but like everyone else around her was really saying like, no, like you have 30-degree burns in your legs and that kind of stuff. But that, of course, and she got a lot of money out of it because, again, she actually got injured and got the McDonald's in trouble. But now, of course, that definitely has spawned into this whole, people are like, oh, it's hot coffee. They're the reason why every time we look at a Starbucks cup or a McDonald's cup, they're always like, caution, hot liquids. Like, duh.
Well, that's a given.
Yeah.
How about this one? The NSA spying scandal.
Yeah, I was looking at that one.
Hello. Because they would never have a scandal in the CIA, NSA,
no,
FBI,
they wouldn't do that.
ATF.
They wouldn't be listening to us.
And just for the record, in case anybody needs to know, I am not suicidal. I have no plans of ending my own life or taking my life. So just in case something happens, please call my friends in law enforcement and let them know something happened to me.
What about this one? Siegfried and Roy, tiger attack.
Yes, they predicted that.
1993, they predicted.
I hate to say that's kind of obvious.
Well, that happened in 2003 when Roy Horn got mauled by one of his white tigers.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, you can make that exactly.
Right,
you can take that thread and just kind of logically, eventually I could see. That happened,
especially especially as a show where you're like a writer for a it's like you can view these things and go,
I think this is another one here.
Yeah.
Season 11, episode 5, and this is 1999. Real tobacco plants. Again, with everything that they're starting to combine everything, Homer sets his eyes on agriculture. And crazy things happen. Using nuclear ingredients from the power plant, he decides to create a hybrid plant from tomatoes and tobacco plants.
Oh, gosh.
Sounds like Bill Gates, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard that the guy who made the California Reaper, like the hottest pepper around, just finished creating a even worse pepper? He's calling it.
Why would anybody
I'm just saying,
want to even do that?
He has been curating it for apparently many years, and he's calling it Pepper X now, or the newest iteration.
Why would anybody? I would never put that in my mouth at all. Yeah. No, thank you.
And that's that right there is a prime example of making sure like you trademark and really know what your brand is and all that kind of stuff, because all this stuff is like Carolina Reaper, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yep, Carolina
Reaper, like branded chips, all that kind of stuff is not.
It's hotter than a ghost pepper.
Yeah. But the thing is that he's the one who created the Carolina Reaper and didn't trademark any of it, didn't put any like sort of patents on it or whatever, and so now anyone can like can take his pepper and market it as like, oh, this is a Carolina, and he gets no pushback from it. But now he's like, I'm putting a hard cut on Pepper X, and like that's gonna be my thing, and because that way he can of course make money off of his own product and stuff. So just so you know, like in case you have an idea or a cool something you want to make, you better make sure you get it trademarked.
Now here's one. I don't know if you can follow this line or not.
Okay.
But in season 3, episode 24, which would be 1992, the baby translator. And now there are quite a few baby translators in the App Store. What does this cry mean? What does this mean? Yes, it's apps like Cry Translator, Baby Talk Translator, Sound Dream, are just a few of them that are out there now that help you determine what a baby's trying to do.
It feels like a stretch.
They predicted it.
I know. I mean, you're right to predict. What I'm saying, it sounds like a stretch that you can predict what a baby's trying to say. But I mean, if you're its own parent, I feel like you would understand that personally. But
maybe, how about a new parent?
Maybe. Well, no. What I'm saying is like if you've been around your baby and I don't know. Maybe I'm
when you and Mallory start having kids, will y'all be getting a baby translator?
No, because I'm pretty sure I would probably spend all day with my child. And I'm like, if my baby's crying for something, I'd probably go like,
so there's not going to be the little baby leash either?
I just don't. Well, no, probably not. What I'm saying is I think there's only a handful of things you could probably narrow it down to. Diaper, food, sleep. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, man. Ian, whenever that day comes for you.
I've dealt with
Dear Lord,
have mercy on you.
Dear Lord, please prepare Ian for the butt whooping that he is about to receive.
I don't think. I mean, all I'm trying to say is like I've handled kids before. Sure. I've handled toddlers before, and there's some that don't talk very well. And all I'm saying is I don't think I need an app to be able to like try and decipher what the child's trying to tell me. But
Ian's going to try to do it old school. Mm-hmm. He's going to do it old school.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's okay.
What about this one, guys? Season 25, episode 16. You don't have to live like a referee.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Remember the old FIFA scandal with the FBI?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that played out, and that was a 2014 episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
nearly 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about for me.
So, yeah. Yeah, the FBI arrested a bunch of authorities. There was all kind of corruption going on, and yeah, it was a mess.
How about the U.S. curling team? Season 21, episode 12, which was 2010. Boy Meets Curl. And they did some stuff with the curling team, and during the episode, the U.S. team won gold medal and defeated Sweden. Which is actually what happened in 2018. They beat Sweden in the 2018 Olympics by a score of 10-7.
And see, like that kind of stuff, that for me is a little bit harder to be like, oh, that's a cool. I mean, it could be
but
a coincidence,
that's really
but it's very specific. Where it's like that's hard. I mean, like if it was just like I feel like USA wins gold, that's like pretty generic. But it's like if they win gold against Sweden, it's like, okay, that's a little more specific. And then it's like, anyways, so then it feels like a prediction, because now you're like, that could be a coincidence. And if it is, kudos to you, because that's very specific.
Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to see this. And another one they did in season 15, episode 14, Matrix 4 premiere. Mm-hmm. Normally you get 3.
Right.
But how would you predict 4 of the Matrix?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
This is kind of reminding me a little bit of the fact whenever we started the episode on Madison Brooks that happened kind of out of nowhere. And was it that one, or was it? No. I'm sorry. I'm confused. We've done this show for a long time.
2 years now. Over 2 years now.
It was the one with I can't remember her name. her boyfriend traveled out to some national park or whatever, and he ended up killing her.
Gabby Brooks.
Gabby Petito.
Gabby Petito.
Gabby
That's right.
Petito,
Gabby
yeah.
Petito.
That was the one that we sat down at the end of the episode. We kind of like made a prediction. And
somebody, I don't know who it was,
I think
said
we
they're
all
going to find him
we
in
all,
the woods,
yeah.
buried
I think we all
in a
had,
shallow grave.
I think we each had our own point on that.
Yes.
That we were like, he probably is back home. He probably has ran away. And then I think you had said something about the fact he's going to be, dead. And that is that it's crazy to think about that. But that,
I think everybody knew they were going to find him dead somewhere.
I was
right.
a little bit more specific. I said dead in the shallow grave, but that's okay.
Right. Dead in the swamp, I think, still counts.
Yes.
But anyway, so this kind of feels an awful like that too, where like we all,
I don't know. Do you think the Simpsons may have tapped into some mystical force that?
I don't know, but I mean, maybe.
I mean,
right.
I don't.
I think that the writers of the show probably are aware of the world, and I think have a way of
they're good prognosticators.
Yeah. I think there's probably a good group of people that are like, I think I know, based on the probably 20 plus years of doing the show or whatever, and I don't know, maybe they have a good nose for.
I said, I mean, maybe it is. Yeah. Maybe they're just real good at looking at the current, at the kind of being able to look at the future and go, this is probably a greater than 50% chance of happening.
Right. Well, they're probably sitting there go, hey, what would be funny? It would be really funny if Donald Trump became president.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's funny when he really becomes president.
Right.
What would be funny? Like murder hornets.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Season 4, episode 21.
Murder hornets.
How do you predict murder hornets and they actually pop up?
That's crazy. Have you seen those things?
Yes.
I've never seen one in person.
No. I think they're like a big thing in Japan.
They are.
No, they're here in America. They're here in America
the East
now.
Coast,
Some people say, I've talked to people and they said they've seen them here.
I hope not. Lord, I hope not.
But whether I've never seen one.
They're the size of your thumb, basically.
Yeah, they're massive.
And they can destroy a whole beehive.
Yep.
They will go in and kill a whole beehive.
Which is awful, because we already have a problem with bees already.
Because we will die if we don't have bees.
Yep.
We need bees.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Sometimes there's this girl on YouTube. Sometimes she pops up on there a lot about saving the bees.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My
It's amazing that they can just sit down and she just, goes with her on these bees and opens up these hives and they don't sting her.
She doesn't have any protection on
No
or
protection
nothing.
on. It's like...
Yeah. Well, that's probably. I think that's. There's a number of my youngest brother that is on Aftermath with me occasionally. He is a big fan of bees, and he's like learned a whole lot of stuff about that as well. And if
the apiarian industry,
right. If you like bees, I think act a lot like sometimes domesticated pets do. If you take care of them, if you give them food, and you're like around them a lot of times, that they're like, okay, yeah, we know who this person is. She's gonna probably give us food or shelter if nothing else. But a rogue beehive, they're like, I don't know who you are, and we're just gonna go ahead and attack you.
Yeah, but this woman goes up to a rogue beehive in somebody's barn or house, starts pulling off the wall, grabs the bees, starts moving them. Oh, there's the queen, puts it in a little little clip, puts it in the thing, and just starts scooping them and moving them over.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Bee whisper. I don't know about that.
I don't know if maybe she doesn't exhibit any fear, and the bees don't.
They operate off of pheromones,
right?
And so maybe there's something to fear. Maybe the lack of fear, because I know handling snakes. Back in the day, I used to raise ball pythons and Burmese pythons, and if a snake realizes that you're comfortable around it, it's going to be more comfortable around you. There was a time when I was working in Florida, and there was this huge 5,000 home, 3 golf course facility that we were building, and there was palmettos everywhere. And we were taking the large excavators, we'd pull the palmettos up and put them, burning them. Well, 1 out of 10 of them, a big rattlesnake's going to fall out.
Right.
So me and a guy that was from the country, we would reach up, grab the snake, by the head, slit the throat, hang it upside down, and there was a Mexican lunch wagon lady that there were so many employees, she would bring 4 lunch wagons out and feed everybody for lunch. She had a little grill, and we would
eat the rattlesnake.
We would cut it, chop it up, put it on the grill.
I've eaten
rattlesnake's very good.
I've eaten rattlesnake at a chuck wagon in Colorado.
Yeah. I was the project manager. There was a foreman from Boston.
Yeah.
And he used to scream and holler at me and the other guy because we would just reach up, grab the snake, slit the throat, hang it upside down. And we would walk up and grill it. And he was, oh, y'all are full of shit. Y'all are hitting that snake with the bucket. And you can't do that because as soon as you do that, you squash the meat. It's no good anymore.
Right.
And so one day, right at lunchtime, I pop one up and I go, oh, wow, that's a big one. It was almost 8 foot long. It was a big rattlesnake. And so I had it by the head and wrapped around my arm, and it wrapped all the way around. And when it was all the way to my elbow, and it hung all the way to the ground. That's how big it was.
Crazy.
Wow.
And it was massive.
Yeah.
And so I call on the radio and I tell my buddy, hey, tell the lady there, get the little grill going. We're going to have some real fresh stuff. Yeah. And so I hadn't slit its throat yet. And so I'm walking up, and there's probably 30 people around all these lunch wagons, and the guy sees me, and I'm approved to everybody. That snake's already dead. And he goes to reach for the head, and the tail comes up, and all you heard was, and he started walking away, and you saw the little brown runners coming up, and it scared him, and the snake was fine. Until he popped up, it knew I had,
right.
I'm not going to say we had a connection, but it knew, something was going to happen, but it was fine because I was not scared of the snake. Maybe it's the same thing with the bees. Maybe this lady and other people on these videos, because there's a number of fantastic people that do that with the bees. And they go in and they take these whole hives, give them a new home. And I have a friend here in Louisiana. That's his whole life. He rents beehives to gardeners and farmers. When it's time to pollinate, he takes the beehive. The queen is stuck. She can't move. And they go out and they pollinate your gardens and your farms, and you get better product, more product. And he's like that. He doesn't wear these suits. And it's pretty fantastic.
I think there's a lot to...
Sounds like a good episode to do one.
I have a feeling my friend would come on if I asked him.
On. I think that'd be pretty interesting, actually.
That was at one time. I was pretty proud of Magnus because I asked him what he wanted to do in life, and he said I wanted to be a beekeeper. Now you really haven't talked about it since then, but I thought that was pretty fantastic because if without bees, we're all going to die. You can't hand pollinate that much.
Oh yeah. I think that animals, have a special understanding, like you're saying, connection with fear, connection with just like body language. I feel like that. I'm not a professional like dog trainer or whatever, but like I love dogs. I love dogs a lot.
The dog whisperer.
Yeah,
what was his name?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's the same sort of thing. Is I've been in some situations where like people will be like, "Oh, my dog is this, my dog is that," and I'm pretty confident in myself to like, unless the dog is going to be just feral or like is going to like be a biter for no reason, I feel pretty confident that like I can like handle myself in a room with a dog, and a lot of it is just a few things that I've learned from people that are actually professionals about just how you carry yourself. How you.
Well, I've had exotic animals my whole life. I had a tiger. I've had a wolf.
You've had a tiger?
Yes. I couldn't afford to keep it because just taking a large animal like that, even to the LSU vet in the 80s, was a $5,000 bill just to walk in the door. I'd hate to see what it is now. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I won't do that one on the air. But I've had a wolf. I've had a Savannah cat. I had a 17-foot Burmese python.
Damn.
And
that's crazy.
I had 3 pit bulls at one time. I love animals. I was a bodyguard for a man who passed, and he left the animal to me to take care of because I had a special connection with his tiger. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Regular Bengal tiger?
Regular Bengal tiger. Yep. And, and there's something about understanding that it's still a wild animal.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you have to understand that these animals, even a savanna cat,
like the Serval, is that what that is?
Well, that's a mix of the Serval, 100% Serval with a 50% house cat, and that is an F1. Then you take that baby, and that's a 50-50. Then you take that baby, the 50-50, and mix it with 100% Serval, and now that's an F2. That's the biggest. That's the ones that when they put their paws on you, when they jump on you, their paws are on your chest.
Mm-hmm. And
they're when they're on all fours, it comes between your knee and your hips. And they're fantastic, and they're $20,000 plus for a good F2.
Wow.
And mine was trained how to use the toilet.
Crazy.
I could walk into the bathroom and he's sitting there going, "What?" I'm like, "All right, dude. I can never get him to flush, but he would use the toilet."
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but they're like the Savannah cats are more like dogs.
Yeah,
a cat is very independent,
right?
And we work for the cats, but a Savannah cat's more like a dog. It wants to be around you. It wants to touch you. It wants to communicate with you. And it wants that attention.
I think a prime example of that, too, is the cat that I have here now. I had a cat that was kind of, residing around the house for a while. And I tried to, shoo it off and kind of, because I thought it was just around here, to get into the trash or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then after a few weeks I noticed that it was, hanging around here. It felt comfortable.
Did you feed it?
No, I didn't
Not
at first.
Yet? Okay.
And so it took me probably the better part of a month for me to just, for it to understand that I wasn't here to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just, whenever he was around, and I would just be just in eye shot of the cat, and I was like, hey, I'm here, and so he would get kind of on edge for a while, but then after probably a few weeks of doing that, where he was okay with that, then I kind of had some food, and I would go over to the area that he was chilling out in. Put a little bit of food down, and then I would walk away, and then but I'd still be in eyesight to where I'm the one who's giving you the food, and I'm just chilling around here. And so it took probably the better part of 2 months, but you guys see it now around afternoon time, the back porch next to my utility room. At I usually always feed him at sundown.
Because I can honestly say, and I'm going to go ahead and speak for Jason here, and I hope he doesn't mind, but we've had your coffee and your brown butter chocolate chip cookies, and we're still here.
Yeah, right.
You kept us around, and we're still waiting for
inch your way in there.
I want some of it. Are we going to make some of it?
Oh, yeah, I will. Especially because the holiday season's coming around.
We got to have cookies.
You know what? I think we need them for our Thanksgiving episode.
Maybe. I think so, too.
Thanksgiving.
Maybe that might be a good episode.
Have thanks for, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Maybe
but we're staying,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, but now, no, it's okay. But now again, when I at dusk, I'll go walk to the utility room, and when I open the utility room door, he'll walk in the utility room now and start meowing, and start and so now before I even started to feed him, I wanted him to make sure I could sit next to him and he would chill around, and I was but again, obviously I've met cats that were very on edge or very feral, that I was I'm not gonna. There's a professional that needs to handle this situation, and it's not me. But with that cat, I was this cat I think is pretty domesticated. Didn't have a collar. I haven't had a chance to bring it to the vet because I didn't want to I didn't want to hurt the cat or hurt myself in the process. So I don't even know, but he's chilled around here for the past probably 6 months.
He's killing bugs and mice.
Right. And I was hey, you know what?
He's good. No, let him go.
Right, exactly. I feed him once every afternoon, and he looks healthy now, and he's.
But don't feed him too much to where he don't want to go kill all the mice.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think the people were saying you should feed them twice a day or so, but I was but I feed him a pretty sizable handful or two of cat food in the evening, and he looks pretty healthy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not, he adventures around.
What about kind of getting back real quick to our predictions here? What about the girther movement predicted by the Simpsons in 1990?
That was early.
Season 1.
Oh, gosh.
Episode 10, Homer's Night Out.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode was questions over the validity of the results of Donald Trump's medical examination. This was a play on the birther movement that arose during Barack Obama's time when they were focusing on his birth certificate versus, and they replaced it with Trump's health. So it was kind of a play on that. So that was another one that ended up. And then did you mention the discovery of autocorrect?
Not yet. That was going to be one of them.
Yeah. In the episode Lisa on Ice, aired in 1994, and the show made a joke about autocorrect, which was not yet a feature on mobile phones at the time.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. What's the take? Coincidence? Somebody's from the future? They got lucky? Or it's just really funny?
So I personally think that some of these we've talked about, I think are a coincidence. That I think is probably people right now that are funny, that are witty people, that can say, because of this circumstance, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future that happens, because that's funny. Mm-hmm. And I think along the way, I think they probably have made some good predictions that I think they even were unaware of.
Back in the early 80s, I told my sister told my dad that David Cassidy was going to be bigger than Elvis. And I told my dad in the same conversation that Donald Trump was going to run all of this one day. And he looked at us both and said, y'all are both idiots. Mm-hmm. I wish I had his number because I'd like to tell him I was right, but my sister wasn't really good with the David Cassidy thing. But, the Donald Trump thing, I think a lot of people could see that happening. Because I saw that in the very early 80s.
Well, just like I said, they're predicting another health crisis in 2025, which you can look at it and go, okay, that's a reasonable prediction.
Right.
So if it does come out that there is a medical health crisis in 2025, did you really predict the future, or was it just taking kind of
context clues? Yeah.
Well, I think this one's a little bit different, because if you're really going to try to predict the future, you're going to predict that it happens in the election year. Okay? Because right now, every time the Democrats want power and they want to win or take away from the Republicans, a new pandemic pops up. 2025 is the year after the election.
Which that tells me, if that is the case, then that tells me Trump wins the presidency.
Exactly.
In 20, and that's boom.
That's
so when he becomes
through.
president,
now there's a new pandemic,
another health crisis
to try to take. So
maybe
that's what that's telling me. Now they've told us that something's happening at the end of this year, 2023, and the beginning of 2024, but that starts the election year process. Yep. They said by the end of the year, we're going to be back at a full mask mandates. And
I don't think that'll ever fly this time.
I don't think it'll fly this time either. No.
It'll never fly. No. They will have to try. I'm telling you, the only way, considering what happened and all the false information that came out with masks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to take, and of course I don't want that. Nobody wants that, but it's going to take a health crisis where the mortality rate is through the roof.
The fear has to be
because I said all along, if the COVID virus had a mortality rate of 50% across all age groups, that changes the game. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you, I don't even want to think, because basically everything would just collapse. Mm-hmm. Because nobody would leave their house.
No.
Nobody. Restaurants would shut down.
Yes.
There would be nobody to go to stores to work. Everybody would be terrified of even being outside.
Right.
And of course, now I don't want that. But I also read something that they say Ivanka Trump is going to run in 2028.
Oh, gosh.
Well, she's...
Wow.
Oh, wow. That would be interesting.
Yeah. That's another one I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So... whether that happens or not, who knows? But as I'm saying, I never knew this kind of stuff, because I don't watch The Simpsons. The show's never the closest show that I've I love to watch, and I'd be honest, lately I haven't even been watching them either. Is Family Guy and American Dad.
Yeah.
I used to love those two shows.
Those feel like the kind of more modern representations of those kind of shows in like the late 80s, early 90s, or even kind of into the 2000s. Like that was The Simpsons was kind of that show that had that same sort of vibe.
A lot of those shows in the 90s started coming out like, Married with Children.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I never got into those because they're so irreverent.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like them. It's funny to talk about The Simpsons and the predictions because it's
cartoon and
fascinating
it's, right.
if you think about it. But I've never seen an episode of The Simpsons. I've never seen a couple. Y'all mentioned a couple. I've never seen that. But of course,
Family Guy, American Dad.
Never seen it. But of course, I'm the boomer of the group. This is a generational show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the boomer. I don't.
You watch All in the Family?
Sadly, I used to. Yes. But that was still good television.
Was it was, but that was
at the time. That was good television.
Yeah,
and I remember those good TV shows.
Yeah.
Things you could do and say back then are a lot different than what you can do and say now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's very generational. I just don't want to ruin, especially since the accident, I don't want to ruin any brain cells that I have left. So I try to occupy my time and read and put something in my brain that's going to be worthwhile.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
there has been some between The Simpsons and between Family Guy. There are some episodes where I think they pushed the envelope a little too far for me personally.
They did.
But sometimes I will say they are funny, and it is kind of funny to see that, especially because of like the
what's the other one? What's the other cartoon that's kind of like that? Bender's the robot.
Futurama.
Futurama.
Yeah. Same sort of thing.
Right.
Irreverent, kind of takes a little far, but the premise is funny and it can.
But they had some actually, there were a couple episodes of Futurama that were absolutely really good.
Yeah.
And really had a lot of depth to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really was. It's fascinating how you can make a cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, the most fascinating one of all that had the most depth was Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. I never.
I mean, that's brain cell sucking, killing.
Yes.
That you never get that back. You can never have those brain cells back after watching something like that.
My generation loves the show Adventure Time for that same sort of reason, where there's like a lot of story, there's a lot of commentary on things going on. But for me, like I never cared for it. I don't like it. And that's probably like the older side of me. But like people that are like squarely in my age bracket, like that is a cartoon that they love because it's funny, it's wacky, it's crazy. But they also can like touch on some situations, and I am just not a big fan of it. And that makes me feel like the odd man out, because I feel like I'm always like that. People are like, you're millennials. Like,
have any other shows had this type of prediction success?
No. Right.
You're never talking about any show like this.
No. Mm-mm. I think what I have heard, like I said, when we brought this conversation and I've looked into it, I've heard this sort of thing about other sitcoms and other shows kind of like this. Like I think there's something with like Friends predicting something, or there's like, again, give a long running show where there's people that are like saying some coincidental things, but nothing with a track record like this, like we just read. There's it's countless thing after thing. So, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little insane when you put it all on paper. I'm trying to see what.
Yeah, it said, according to this study here, it said, I'm reading a BBC News article. It says, in fact, a study conducted by Zaramiski after the show's 29th season determined that the show contained roughly 120,000 jokes.
Wow.
And over 1.2 thousand of those jokes were future predictions.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And you see what I mean? Like, that kind of feels like that's where we're probably in the coincidence spectrum, but I feel like some of those coincidences are probably a little too good to be true. For me, a human perspective of like some of those, I think, like we had already said in the show, are probably context clues and having a little fun with stuff, but just a little rough a little rough outline. Like I just typed in like shows that have predicted the future in some way or another, and here are some of the eeriest and the creepiest ones that some people have. I won't go into all of them, but like supposedly Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, 30 Rock, Friends, like I had mentioned, Black Mirror. Obviously, Black Mirror is a big one that, same sort of thing.
I don't think I've seen Black Mirror.
It's like the X-Files. Black Mirror intrinsically is like a show that, I could be wrong. This is what my interpretation of the Black Mirror is this is the Black Mirror. Is you looking into your screen, your phone. If you look into the screen of your phone and it's turned off, it looks like you can kind of see your reflection. It's the Black Mirror, quote unquote. But it basically is a show where like each episode is like a different story altogether that kind of dives into this like one little core aspect, and it's very well shot, very cinematic, very beautiful.
Where is it? Is it on what platform is it on?
It is actually a interesting.
Yeah,
I have to tell Miranda about this. It's a English show.
Yeah,
it's a series of standalone dramas, sharp, suspenseful, satirical tales that explore technorama. Black Mirror is a contemporary reworking of the Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, not X-Files.
With stories that tap into the collective unease about the modern world. Oh, man, I have to check that out.
There is some very big episodes on there that are very
What platform is it? Netflix? Is it
Netflix?
It says Netflix and
Amazon
Prime Video.
Okay, I'll check that out then.
It is some of the episodes are a little hard to watch because they're kind of rated R with some of the stuff, but if you've watched, I said X-Files and I apologize. It's Twilight Zone.
No, it's okay.
It's
kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone was the early X-Files.
Right.
Come on.
Rod Serling.
Yeah. But it has that same. It's like really head scratcher stuff where like there's a concept involving technology, and the technology and somehow is controlling your life in a way, and it's making you really rethink how you look at things, whatever. But obviously, a show like that, like Black Mirror, like Twilight Zone, you can imagine that, like, of course, they take what we have currently in technology, and it's like, what would it look like in 5 years, and how it would control our life in some way, and you're like, holy crap!
I'll have to check that out. Yeah. That's kind of got me intrigued.
Right. There's a list of some of like the really, like, you can look up a list of like top episodes that are like really big. But it has 6 seasons, and so there's a lot of.
What shows? I'll tell you what show that's no longer that I loved was Fringe.
Fringe was good.
Fringe, yeah.
Fringe was good.
Fringe was great.
But shows like that and other ones that, of course, have apparently made predictions.
Yeah, but that's where I'll be very curious. Shows that are kind of have that prediction kind of.
So, like I said, I've heard about this concept before, but nothing quite like The Simpsons having a track record.
I just
like
think that it's fascinating that a cartoon has made such an impact in society. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's 35 seasons.
That's right.
That's
35 seasons.
Big,
that's a long time to continue the popularity and keep people watching it. That's different generations, obviously. Right. And but just to have such an impact and people recognizing what they say and bringing it out, that some of their predictions have come true. And you just gave me an interesting statistic that are predictions of funny jokes that are coming true. I'm going to go with somebody's been to the future.
And that's cool.
Well, I mean, now you're diving off into a different topic, but I mean, I do believe time travel is possible.
Well, actually, it is possible. You're a time traveler.
Yeah.
You're just going in one direction. We've traveled about an hour.
Right.
And since we've been together, we've traveled an hour in time. So technically, we're all time travel. It just has somebody been able to go in the other direction.
Right.
If you can move in one direction, is it really that unrealistic that somebody has found a way to go in the other direction?
Probably jump into the future.
Jump into the future, or a dimensional thing. We've said on the couple of the other episodes, we talked about, I think if aliens were to land on the White House lawn, one of our, was it episode 3?
Yeah,
maybe.
Like that.
We talked about that maybe propulsion isn't what we think it is. Maybe it's the brain. Maybe it's a dimension of how do we put it? Help me out here, Ian. My brain, I'm tired. We've been
That's okay.
conscious.
Yeah.
Maybe it's conscious travel. What if we found a way? Right now we use 10% of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
What if somebody in the future is up to 40 or 50%, and conscious propulsion or travel is now possible?
Right. Crazy.
So what if there's just a different way to travel in the future?
Mm-hmm.
It could be. I mean, there's been plenty of people have made predictions about future events, some with startling accuracy, others not so much. I mean, who we talk about a while back that had predictions was Edgar Casey.
Yeah, but if you think about things, what we know about energy today is very small and finite. But in the past, was energy different? Because the pyramids are supposedly energy conduits.
Right.
That created free energy across the globe.
Don't ask the Egyptologists that. They're going to bite your head off for saying something like that.
But when you look at how it's built, it's like a big battery and a conduit for energy.
Right. Well, that's what Nikola Tesla had.
Exactly.
He thought
you
that
got to wonder if he didn't get some of his inspiration from the pyramids.
Right.
So is it possible that maybe somebody, or maybe even communicate? What if they can just communicate consciously to the past?
Across time, right.
Across time, and
somebody from the future
gives this information to somebody.
Right. Somebody in the future could be sending some sort of message in maybe some encrypted type way where it may not always work out, but a lot of times it does. Yeah, I'm open to it. I'm not necessarily I'm very open to any of that because I believe our world is a lot more mysterious than what we.
Oh, absolutely.
Than what we. I still don't think we really have a grasp of what reality is. But another time,
right?
Another show.
All right. Well, with that being said, if you're looking to give us a little comment or you want to try and chat with us, we have a Facebook page /Retrospect Pod where you can send all your short form responses. But if you have any long ones where you really want to type out a whole lot and say a whole lot to us, whether it be you want to give us a suggestion or you want to write to us in some way, we have an email address, and that is getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send all those. Or you can just type in Retrospect Pod on most of the social media platforms or anywhere, and you can find us that way. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless.
You're the best. Peace.